You're watching a Fact TV presentation of the town of Swanzey.
pledge allegiance. Thank you, Mom.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ready? Yeah. Make a motion to approve the July 22nd and July 23rd minutes.
Second?
All in favor? Aye. Make a motion to approve the non-public minutes for July 22nd, sessions 1 and 2, and July 23rd, sessions 1, 2, and 3.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda. I hear a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I don't think we have any public input. Scott, you're gonna...
I have some, but I can save it for later on. This is a small matter that has to do with the green wall.
Okay, you feel like hanging out for just a bit and enjoy the show tonight? It's a good show. We got a good show tonight. We got DOT here. I'm excited about Corey getting up there and showing us a movie. I guess we're gonna give you the floor, boss. You're up, Corey. Did you guys want to sit up here? You guys? No, you're good there? All right. As long as you can hear us.
All right, I'm going to do this via mic so the online audience can play along. So we have my name is Corey Spetelunas. I'm the project manager on the safety section at the DOT. We have a rumble strip project coming through routes 9, 11, and 12 from Fitzwilliam to Newport. And we had reached out to all the municipalities involved that are in the corridor area, essentially asking if they wanted us to come and present as to, why, how, all that background information, so that these don't just show up one day and you guys are wondering what happened. So that's what we're here to discuss. Like I mentioned, the project, a little hard to see on the projector here. There's a blue line coming from Fitzwilliam down here at the Mass border, all the way up the west coast of the state up to Newport. That is the limits of the project. So we don't spend a whole lot of time. Here to talk about why we're doing this and the crash information behind it, why rumble strips are a good safety countermeasure for the areas we're looking at, specific project locations for Swanzey, next steps, and if there's any public input, local knowledge of areas that we're proposing rumble strips that you say, hey, there shouldn't be rumble strips for whatever reason, those are the areas I'm mostly interested about, so we can make sure that the project doesn't become a nuisance at the end of the day. So project purpose, this is a project to adjust lane departures. This could be either center line, crossing the yellow line, or crossing the white line, which is the edge line. Those crashes are often pretty serious in nature, just due to the high speeds of oncoming traffic, or hitting a fixed object on the side of the road. So we like to try to, and we'll get into this a little bit more, this is a countermeasure to mitigate people from leaving their lane. A roadway departure or even a lane departure isn't necessarily your vehicle entirely into another lane or in the shoulders. As soon as you cross that line, even with a wheel, that's enough to have a head-on collision, hit a bicyclist, any sort of incident in that nature. We did pull some crash data from July 2017 to December 24. Swanzey, fortunately, hasn't had a huge percentage of run-off-the-road crashes. There have been 80 crashes along Route 12, which is the only route of these three going through Swanzey. 16 of those were run off the road for a total of 20%, so it is less percentage-wise compared to the other communities affected by this project. However, when we look at injuries resultant from those crashes, you do have about 45% of those crashes do result in some sort of injury. And this information is simply running off the road and not center line, which was a whole crash information debacle trying to separate those. Roadway departure statistics, although New Hampshire is a fairly small state, we have had about 120 people die back in 2024, which is the latest complete year fatality information that we have available. 60% of that was due to roadway departures, or lane departures, whether that's center line or edge line. And that equates to 72 individuals that lost their lives because of leaving their lane, or somebody leaving their lane and hitting them. What I really want to stress here is that we can't predict where fatal crashes will happen. That location is completely random. It has a lot of variables in there that we can't necessarily predict or control, but we can predict the type of crashes that is going to result from that. You know, you're going to have your head-ons, you're going to have your high-speed angles, you're going to have a fixed object, and those are often, as I mentioned, higher in severity. Quick crash history, this is along the whole corridor. Not a huge fatality. I mean, we still had 21 people die over the last 10 years or so, which is a number we'd like to bring down as part of this project. Ultimately, what are rumble strips? I'm sure everyone's familiar with them. They're on every major highway. The type of rumble strip that we typically put down was a rectangular corrugated rumble strip. These are rectangular sections that are milled out of the pavement to create that vibration and audio inside the cab of the vehicle when you hit them. Recently, the department has changed to what we call sinusoidal rumble strips, also known as mumble strips. These provide the same feedback inside the vehicle for the driver, both audio and vibratory, but they are significantly quieter, which I will talk to in a second as well. We do have some minimum requirements to install our rumble strips. Has to be at least a 40-mile-an-hour zone with the pavement in good condition. We don't want to mill out the center of the road or the edge lines in the shoulder, and then the pavement start deteriorating and cause other problems. The roadway has to be at least 28 feet wide, because if people tend to shy away from the center line so they don't hit the rumble strips, they're not being forced off the other side of the road. And also 6-foot shoulder. So we set our rumble strips 1 foot off the white line. That still gives adequate width for bicyclists or other users to be in the shoulder and not be riding on the rumble strips. So why are we proposing rumble strips through this? Essentially, they're a proven safety countermeasure. Federal Highway has a whole list of proven safety countermeasures. This is a roadway departure specific one. They can reduce head-on crashes by anywhere from 44 to 64%. So that's your centerline crossover. Going the other way, going off the shoulder, it's a wide range, but anywhere from 13 to 51. We found in New Hampshire, we're actually trending towards the higher limit of that, closer to the 50 side. It is a very low-cost safety countermeasure. It makes a big impact in terms of safety for a very, very low cost. We installed, right now we're trending about $12,000 for a mile of rumble strips, and that's all inclusive, which is insanely low compared to some other alternatives. And a very short construction exposure. Our last project, I think, took about 2 weeks from start to finish for installation. They were in and out, and that was about 50 miles of rumble strips. So it has a very, very minimal impact to traffic and the surrounding area. Decibel level, so sound is measured in decibels. Just so when I show this scale in a second, I want to set everyone up just for everyone not super keen on what decibel levels and how they're measured. A change of 1 to 3 is barely noticeable to the human ear. Anything around 5, you'll notice, but it's not super distinct. A change of 10 decibels is double. So when we're looking at this thermometer, anything greater than 10 is now more than double where you were. So this green arrow that just came up, that is for your regular rectangular rumble strips that we do not use anymore. That's a distance 200 feet from the road at 65 miles an hour, which we don't quite have on Route 12 through there. The ones that we are installing are at a 74. That is a sinusoidal rumble strip that is at the road at 60 miles an hour. Similarly, if you're at that same vantage point for a slower speed with rectangular rumble strips, you can see you've jumped up another 7 decibels. So obviously, as you get close to the road, the noise is going to be louder. So that yellow arrow is our sinusoidals. The orange line is what we used to do. So you can see even just changing the type of rumble strip, we've eliminated 7 decibels, which is nearly half. For comparison's sake, We put in a Jake brake at 100, so you're looking at about 40 decibels higher. And I'm sure everyone's aware of motorcycles, with it being the middle of summer. Those top off around 116 decibels. So you're looking about 16 times louder than these rumble strips are going to be, just to give kind of an impression of how noisy or not these rumble strips have the potential to be. Effectiveness in New Hampshire, I noted we were trending towards that 50% just with the edgeline departure, which is more of what this graph is dictating here. The left half of the chart is before rumble strips were installed. You can see we had about an average of almost 6 crashes per year that were run off the road. Rumble strips were installed in 2011 in the middle of the chart, and then for the second half of the chart, you can see the crash rate dropped about to half. So we went from 6 to about 3. Meanwhile, the AADT on the bottom, which is the average annual daily traffic, actually increased over 2,000 vehicles a day. So even though the traffic volumes went up, the crash rates still went down for this particular crash type because of the rumble strips being installed. For Swanzey specifically, we are looking at installing rumble strips from the town line with Marlborough up through just past Stafford Road here, where the speed limit drops to under 40. This is just because of the roadway width today. This would be entirely center line except for a small portion near the town line that would also have sinusoidal rumble strips for southbound traffic. North is actually behind me in this orientation. So this is kind of the area where I would welcome any sort of feedback on any landmarks or anything that might be adversely affected by any rumble strip noise. Next steps, this project advertises next month. We have all these sections included. If there were any areas to pull out, we still have plenty of time. Expected construction to be this spring with a completion of fall. That just gives the contractor time to come out and do it when they're available to do it. And then we would do a study to see how beneficial, what the crash rates are post-implementation as well, just to keep tabs on the benefits this is providing. And then I can hand out some business cards afterwards, but here's my contact information. I did mention speeds, so I think I'd be remiss on at least not touching on this slide a little bit. We do have probe data that we have access to. This is roughly the town line with Marlborough. So this, I think the rumbles went to about here. So this is all posted 50, but you can see the speeds just based on this color scale over here, above 55 through here, above 50 through there. So the 85th percentile is what we're showing there, which is what the speed limit would be if we were to do a speed study. That means 85% of the vehicles are going at that speed or below, so 15% of drivers are exceeding that. I think I might have misspoke on the speed limit, though. This is a 40. That makes more sense. So you can see a lot of the vehicles are going 50. And although rumble strips do have a minimal effect on speed, they do lower it by a mile or two, but it does, at those speeds, if you have 2 vehicles going 50 miles an hour head on, you can only imagine the results. So with that, I would welcome any questions or comments.
Rumble strips and the other one, so you don't use a rectangle no more, and because the other ones are better, is that?
We use the rectangular ones just on the interstate right now.
But you won't be using that on 12?
Correct.
Can you go to the other one and?
Yes.
And so what is the major difference on this?
So the major difference is this is a constant milled out strip, where the other one was kind of piecemeal rectangles.
Oh, so it hits every spot of the road when they grind?
So the whole road along the center line will be milled, and it'll vary from about ½ an inch deep to about 1/8 of an inch. It might be less than that. It gets very, very close to flush, but not quite.
And what does it change from the rectangle to that? Smoother ride?
It's really just the exterior noise.
What?
It's so that people outside the vehicle don't have such a loud noise when a vehicle
Oh,
hits it.
it's less noise
Yeah, so if
outside
you were
the
like in
vehicle,
your front-
outside the vehicle, not in it.
Inside the vehicle, it's very equivalent. Anyone outside the vehicle, it'll be a noticeable drop in volume comparatively.
Did I hear you correctly? You said $12,000 a mile, that's what it costs?
Yeah.
Wow, that seems like a lot of money.
It does seem like a lot of money until you consider, like, say, a roundabout is about 4 million.
Yeah. So
we
it's
got enough of
just
those.
a grinder machine that goes down the road, right? And just
Yeah,
does
well,
it
so-
like
so
a
that costs-
reclaimer machine?
That cost is all inclusive too. That has paint afterwards, that has traffic control, that has getting the contractor out there, that has any other ancillary costs that are built into that.
So in comparison to the strips on Route 9 that were in Chesterfield, this would be significantly lower in the decibel level.
Correct.
Thanks.
It'd be about half.
All right, and the stretch is really just from, as you mentioned, from the Marlboro line to Safford Drive, and the remainder of Swanzey and that part of Keene would not be impacted.
Correct, yeah, the rumbles pick up back north of Keene again. We met with them last week. So as far as Swansea is concerned, yeah, the town line up to where it changes back to 30 miles an hour coming into town.
And you said you don't do nothing below 40 miles an hour? You wouldn't do a road that's 30 miles an hour?
We don't, just because of the effectiveness. When you start going at that speed, you don't get the same results inside the vehicle in terms of the feedback. You could drive on the rumbles and you probably feel it a little bit, but it's not to the same degree.
Okay.
They're just less effective.
How do you determine to go center line or white line?
So the center line, so they're two different strips. Let me pull up the picture of the road. So the center line is as often as I can. If I had to pick one or the other, it's center line, but it really depends on what the roadway width is. So as long as we have the width to qualify for center line rumble strips, being 28 feet, the center lines will go right on top of the yellow line. They'll mill this whole strip out and then paint it back in afterwards.
That's if the road's 28 feet wide.
Correct. Which everything that we showed on the map is 28 feet wide. These ones are the shoulder ones. These are 1 foot off your white line, just so you don't get what we call nuisance hits, people just hitting it accidentally because they can't stay.
So if you don't have enough of road on the opposite side, you don't do it because you don't want to break the road.
Right, yeah, if you don't have enough, it's either because we would be influencing the edge of pavement and then it would just kind of deteriorate in, or if we don't have enough room for, say, a bicyclist or someone else to be over here and have their own space as well. Because any room we take out of the shoulder is now just room they don't have.
Yep. I'm personally a big fan of them. I think they're fantastic. I mean, even if you're drowsy and you catch it and it brings you back, I love it.
Yeah, I just want to say,
Yeah, I love it.
I think this is a great idea. This is going to reduce head-on collisions by half.
At least,
That's
yeah.
wonderful, and you're going to do it relatively quickly. Who's paying for it?
Entirely state.
Excellent.
This is a federal project, yeah.
If you want to help.
Well, and I think $12,000 a mile, if it saves, the life of a neighbor or someone from the town, I think that's money well spent.
Just for strict comparison, crashes have a cost depending on severity. Even a property damage only is almost $10,000, just over 9. So even if you're preventing some fender benders and stuff out there, and this is more than just like cost to repair your cars, like time lost, emergency response, like there's a whole lot of factors included in this. You reduce even one of those, or even one possible injury, I mean, you've almost paid for the whole project at that point. So it's.
Can you tell me what your biggest complaint is complaints that you do get about? What would be people would complain about? The
Usually
noise?
Still noise, yeah.
Just the noise mainly.
There's, at a meeting like this, the complaint is normally noise. After they go in, I don't hear any complaints.
Because the noise is only if people are not driving where they're supposed to be. If they're
Correct. And The biggest complaint is that it's a sudden noise. You know, you go from just normal, and it's usually in the middle of the night, right? You have someone driving and they're in their lane, and then you hear those louder than that, obviously, but and if you have a neighbor at home, they might be jostled awake because they have their windows open or whatever, and I get it. But the alternative is maybe they hit a tree in your front yard, and that's probably pretty alarming too. So there's that trade-off. Like, I understand you want your privacy and your serenity and everything, but it ultimately comes down to the noise, and we're just trying to save lives at the end of the day.
So you're saying this project could start in the spring?
This will
As well?
advertise this fall and be ready to go in the spring. Yeah.
Wow.
It'll go quick once they start it.
Any of you guys got any more questions? I gotta thank you guys for coming out. This is great education. I always wondered, that's pretty cool that we know now. And I love it. I think you guys are doing a great job. I love it. Thank you.
My biggest question.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Just one question for you.
Yeah.
So that's from the Marlboro line to Safford Drive is going to be 3 strips, correct? One on either side?
This will just be predominantly the center line,
Just
down
the
the
center
middle,
line.
just because there's not room on the shoulders.
Oh, there wasn't in there. I thought it was.
There's a small portion near the town line where I think one side will qualify for the shoulders,
There'll be 1 strip down the
but it'll be just down the center.
regardless of passing zone or anything like that.
Yeah, we still rumble through the passing zones, so that's probably another, if anyone lives in a passing zone, those are obviously hit more because people are allowed to go over them, per se. The biggest question I guess I had for you guys was there is a campground, I believe, towards the northern side of this. I think this is a campground-ish property.
Fairground.
Fairground?
Yeah, the fairgrounds.
So nobody, like, sleeps there? Okay.
Except for this weekend.
Except for this. I can live with one weekend. We try to stay away from, like, seasonal campgrounds, because they get a lot of complaints, because people travel out of town, and then they might have rumble strip hits overnight, and they're like, I can't sleep, this was awful, I'm never coming back. So I don't want to put people out of business either.
Some people will be camped there this week because of the fair, but
Okay, so that's not what I thought it was. Perfect. Yep, well, I appreciate it.
you'll probably be camped there.
Corey, nice job. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you very much for your work.
That was interesting, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Let's give him a few minutes to wrap this stuff up.
and it's not costing us anything.
Well, yeah, it does.
Indirectly. Oh, yeah, you're right, you're correct.
It's just not, we're writing the check.
Yes.
Just gonna give him 2 minutes to put something in, so when she's talking, he won't be interrupted.
Yeah, that's fine.
Sarah, how are you?
Oh, I'm well, how are you?
Good, I'm gonna give him a few minutes just to wrap some of it up, and in the meantime, you can come on up here. You can sit in the big chair right here in front. We're gonna try to scare you, Sarah. Thanks, Corey.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, you guys, and nice meeting both of you. Thank you so much. One of these days, you just gotta come out of your skin. Susie, how you doing? Good. How was the party at the pizza place? Yeah, Jimmy has fun with the kids, honey. He does good. What was the name of that place you said you went to? Jimmy's Pizza. You missed it. The pony was really cool. It's really a sharp pony. Jimmy, I remember walking around the field feeding it apples. Okay, Sarah, how are you?
I'm well, how are you?
I'm excited about you're gonna give us some help over here, huh?
Yeah.
You're gonna jump aboard and give us some help, huh?
Someone might want to bring them some money. So.
Well, I guess I'll just let you introduce yourself to us all, and, well, do you know everybody here?
I do not.
All right, well, why don't we do that first over here?
Alan Gross?
Bill Hutwelker.
Jimmy Tempesta,
Mark LaBelle.
the best men and taker in Cheshire County right there.
That's great.
Yeah, we got her. No one's gonna steal her.
We actually have the two best.
We have the two best, Beverly.
That's right.
Beverly is right up there. Yeah. Okay, Sarah, so why don't you tell us a little about yourself for a second, and then we'll let you lead. Go
Yeah, so
ahead.
I've been a fundraising professional for about 20 years. I started out at Beth Israel Deaconess Medical Center in Boston, moved on to Tufts University where I led their Boards of Advisors program, then moved on to Keene State for a few years, and at that point someone said, why don't you go out on your own? And, and I never considered that. So I started consulting about 6.5 or so years ago, worked on the 100 Nights Capital campaign, and working on finishing up the Walpole Village School and Community Room campaign up in Walpole. I've done a number of different projects, worked with different clients. Keene Housing Kids Collaborative is one that I do a lot of grant writing for, which I think that you guys, I think you're familiar with the Kids Collab, as Swanzey has some kids that are a part of it. So I've done kind of a really comprehensive kind of range of fundraising activities. So grant writing is just one thing I can offer. I've mostly worked with nonprofits. I think this might be my first municipality. So there'll probably be some new aspects to this for me. But I'm a quick study, and if we have the right project team, I think that we can move forward pretty quickly.
I mentioned to the board that Steve Fortier recommended you highly, and that's how we came in contact with you.
Worked with Steve. I believe you mentioned that Steve Horton is your project manager. Is that accurate or no?
We haven't been engaged with Steve Horton, but his
Okay.
name did
Just Steve
come from Steve
Fortier.
Fortier,
Okay.
as well as from you, so I'm not sure we're familiar.
Yeah,
with
my most recent Northern Borders grant, I think Steve probably read either in his role as at New Hampshire BEA. So I helped with the Keene Downtown Project, their infrastructure grant. I actually worked with the Keene Downtown group to actually get a $500,000 award to do a 3-year comprehensive advertising campaign, essentially advertising and festival type of a model to drive foot traffic downtown when construction's not going on, in order to be able to keep cash flows consistent during that construction period, so that small businesses would be able to survive during that construction period. So that's my most recent work with Steve.
Very well-rounded.
Yep. So if you could share with us, I shared with the board the email that you sent me with preliminary steps with regard to seeking the Northern Borders grant. You also indicated at one point that we might want to defer applying this year and go to town warrant first, if I understood you correctly.
Yeah, it's really a sequencing aspect, and the one thing about Northern Borders is that they have both a pot of feasibility funds available, so those are up to a maximum of $100,000, and that could essentially get you through a very early design phase, if that was something that you wanted to package, and whatever process you have locally to be able to bring it to your constituents to vote on, or the public process. They also allow those who, after you receive that feasibility study funding, if it moves towards an actual infrastructure project, you can then apply for that basic public infrastructure construction grant, which is up to $1 million. So it might just be more of a, not necessarily pushing it off, but thinking about your timeline and how you want to sequence the different grants that you want to apply for based on what stage you're in.
Can we bring Scott up to the table?
Yeah, Scott, you want to come right up over here? Or sit right here, Scott.
Scott, do you want to
right
be a
here.
buddy? You can sit right next to me.
We have a pretty large project going on here. I don't know if you're aware of it. But what you're talking about the preliminary and
Scott, would you mind using the microphone?
So would it be to our advantage to use both of them, the prior one, the feasibility one, and then go on to the, say, construction one, or does it matter? You know, would we have one foot in the door if we use the first one?
Right, and I think that, and this is just based on what I know, what Bill's told me about the project, which is pretty high level, but the fact that you haven't gone to the local approval process yet, you're not going to have as strong of an application as other projects you're competing against that might have local approvals, they might be farther along in engineering and design, they might be closer to shovel ready than your project is right now, so it might make sense to start with that feasibility bucket of money. It also gives you a little bit more, you know, it's that 100,000 to help you advance your design and engineering, and then you can apply for that full $1 million. The other aspect of that is with Northern Borders, with their infrastructure projects, I believe at least 50% has to go towards construction if you get that award. So I wouldn't want you necessarily to apply for that full $1 million this fall. If you're still in the engineering design phase and you actually might need, you know, either more time or more funding to put towards that engineering and design phase, yes, you can probably, you know, we could probably work with Northern Borders to figure it out, but it almost makes sense to really start in the feasibility phase if you're really still in that design phase. And that's something that we can submit a project interest form, meet with a couple of the NBRC reps and talk through and say, here's what we think we want to do. Does that make sense to you? And see if they agree with that approach, because it could be, because they have a fall and a spring round, it could be this fall we apply for the feasibility, we're awarded, you're able to then put that money towards, you know, the study, that packaging to present it locally. And then the spring, I think their pre-application falls in, I think their pre-application is February, and their final application, if invited, is typically in April or maybe early May. So in terms of that timing, we might want to think about just sequencing those two things.
Because our town meeting, or, you know, wouldn't be voted on until after March, whether it went through or not. So that's right in the middle of that window that you were just talking about, right?
And I have seen instances where some awards are made, you know, there might be a conditional approval. In this case, I really think if you want to be competitive just with a general pool, you really want to get that local approval, because they're going to be looking for it. They're going to sit, you know, they're going to want you to have your, you know, at what select board meeting was that vote made. You actually have to provide them the minutes from that meeting to say, yep, here's our local approval, here's this, here's that. Typically that's how it is. So again, we can at least start by talking with Northern Borders and talk through that timeline with them.
So the feasibility part of it, what are the limitations on those funds? Is it anything, or designing?
They do have a
Any
list.
type of
I don't
public-
have it.
yeah.
I might have it on my mini computer here. I could look it up. But it is usually that early architectural engineering.
That real design or
There might
preliminary
be some
design?
I think there might be some others in there as well, if you're thinking of some other needs that they're essentially trying to help projects get to that construction phase. Obviously, you know, okay, once you actually do that design plan, okay, is this feasible for our town municipality to take on? So that's specifically what these funds are for. And I'm assuming it probably came about because they had a number of people who applied, and they probably told them, well, you're not quite there yet, and they probably came back and said, well, how do we get the money to figure out if we can get there? So I think that there's probably some more there, and I can send you some information about what else might be involved.
Would that also be able to be put towards the real engineering, not general or preliminary engineering, but real engineering? Because we're in the process now of feasibility to see what it's going to cost, where it's going to go. It's a line coming from Swanzey treatment plant to the Keene system. I guess you know that, but just letting you know. So we're in the preliminary engineering part of it now to choose a route and to see what it basically is going to cost. But the real engineering is coming after that.
Yeah.
So
engineering. I'd have to look that up, and it could be a question for the program officers and asking them, you know, we've started this already, is it okay that some of the funds would either go towards this, or, you know, even though it's kind of after the fact, you've already started that process, or could this be put towards kind of the real engineering of the project?
Which normally would be in the $1 million grant part of it, right?
Yes.
Engineering and construction, either half and half or whatever it works out to be. It's got to be at least half
And so
construction.
essentially that's what it would be if you wanted to request, you know, 500,000 for engineering. That would be the max, because you would have to spend that remaining 500,000 on construction.
Would we have to break it up like that? Would we have to request a certain amount for engineering and a certain amount for construction?
It's just that the heart of the construction costs need to be at least 50%.
Okay, but we wouldn't be stuck to a figure. We'll say that we applied for, say, 500,000 engineering, but we didn't use it all, but we wanted to use the rest of it on construction.
Oh, I see what you're saying. What you can do, usually there's like a scope of, or change in scope request. So if you're finding that, oh, we actually have enough money, you know, for our design and engineering, and we want to put more of these costs towards construction, as long as it's in the original application, like the scope doesn't completely change and you're trying to get money for something else, you could submit a change in scope, and it goes through the program officers and they approve. You know, typically they will approve it if it's within the kind of the original context of it. You can put more money towards that construction.
And we wouldn't be limited to both of them, engineering and construction. If we got other grants that covered engineering, we could put that full thing to construction, say the full million to construction.
Yeah, I think we just need to figure out, part of the funding is sequencing. It's also this 3D puzzle where, in terms of timing as well. So it's really trying to get a sense of, okay, what are the other sources of funding that we're looking at? What are their timelines? What are their expenditure deadlines and so forth? And then also figuring out what are their eligible costs? And then what are these eligible costs? And what do we want to, you know, which funder is going to fund which costs? And then what are our gaps? And how do we fill those gaps?
And where you come in, right? So
It's the fun puzzle we get to do.
can we apply multiple years? You know, this is going to be a multiple year project. So
So the answer to that is typically no. So even if you try to specifically phase it and say, oh, well, phase 1 is going to be this and phase 2 is going to be that, usually they'll look at it and say, but isn't it all part of the same project? And we can still have that conversation with Northern Borders, and I will say bring that up because their program their guidelines can change from year to year. So I think it is always worth it to just be like, hey, so do you recommend that we can do this? Sometimes they might say no, but we do know this additional funding here that you might want to look at. So sometimes it just opens up the conversation about other sources of funding that they may even know about that we don't.
oh, yeah, that could work too. It's going to be a big project, maybe 20 million, something like that. So we're looking everywhere.
If I see any rocks outside, I'll
You turn them over?
for
Yeah.
you. Yeah.
We've probably already done that.
But there's also some grant research that we can do as well. I'm sure you
Yeah.
have some past funders that, you know, past grant programs that you're looking at. And it's always worth to look and see what else is out there.
Yeah, we're just beginning here on this one, though. So,
We do understand that we'd be able to apply for up to 3 million through the Northern Borders because of the scope of the project, and it's it's not specific to Swanzey, but it impacts Keene, so that might be something to consider as well.
The goal with the multi-municipality, so that the multiple infrastructure, is they really want to see the two municipalities working together.
And we are.
So if you can make that case, so I think it might be we need to present what that we would need to kind of talk with Northern Borders about that. Because my assumption would be that because construction would need to take place, those funds would need to fund construction in each of the municipalities that the project is being conducted in. So we would need to figure out, would that mean that 1.5 million goes to Keene for their project and 1.5 comes to Swanzey for its part of the project? I don't know. That would be something that we would need to ask.
We would prefer 2.9 to 1.
999.
But it does involve the size pipe that they put in in order to take what we would send. And then I also asked the question with regard to other types of grants. So you have the capacity to research other grants that could apply to this project and,
Yes.
and potentially other ones that we have, other projects.
Yes, and that could be federal. I don't know if there are any that are available at the state level. But I can keep all of those open as part of this, as part of that prospect research.
When would we need to make the decision with regard to the pre-application to either push off and delay as you're recommending, or go through?
My recommendation would be see if you can reach out to Northern Borders this week and set up a pre-application meeting with them and really explain some of the pieces that you were talking about in terms of the timeline, and asking them for a recommendation. Should we try for a feasibility study award this fall? Should we try for, we don't yet have those local approvals. Get their sense of what the timing should be for that application.
Is that something you can coordinate
Oh, yeah.
for us?
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just gonna suggest that. We need her. Yeah. No,
Yeah, if
we gotta. Okay, that's great.
Yeah.
And that's
That would
something
work.
you take interest in helping us do that? Wow.
Yeah, that's an easy one.
Okay.
I think. Maybe setting up meetings isn't that easy. Maybe I shouldn't,
Is
maybe I
that type,
shouldn't be so quick.
is that type of call something you would do individually, or would it be better that we had Scott involved?
It
So
would
that-
very much be a situation where I'd want Scott involved because he knows the project. That's your baby.
That's a pretty big baby right there, but yeah,
It's expensive.
yep. But, so that meeting would be a phone call meeting, or would it have to be a person meeting?
Phone or
Doesn't matter?
Zoom? Yeah,
Zoom, yep.
typically,
Okay.
I think
Alright.
most of the NDRC program staff are still hybrid, or some of them might be completely remote, I don't know. So usually they do Zoom meetings,
Great, yeah, that'd work.
yeah, to talk through. So we could do that.
And do you work with the USDA as well?
A little bit on the periphery, related to a community project funding or an earmark, through a congressionally directed spending request. So I don't have as much experience working with their program staff, other than knowing that they're extremely over the top and have faced more cuts. So, yeah, I haven't had, and I haven't on the project side either, though I know depending on which USDA program, there can be headaches in terms of the compliance and legislation. But I think probably given the size of the town, there might be some opportunities with some of the rural funds, rural development, that would be worth exploring.
Good.
So one project that we have, or I should back up, you have the bandwidth to research types of grants, to apply them to specific situations.
Yes, yeah.
Scott's going to talk about something later, but that I mentioned that in one of the emails to you that Scott's on a committee, chairs a committee for one of our buildings and the renovation of that building, and that we're currently applying for LCHIP.
Oh, great.
But is that something you could coordinate with Scott and potentially provide some guidance with other types of grants?
Yeah, is that something you do in collaboration with any local historical group as well? I'm just wondering in terms of, sometimes I come across projects where there's multiple entities involved in that type of work?
Not this one, it's Preservation Society for the historic preservation of that building, but it's a local group.
Okay.
It's the town people.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just wanted to check
And
to
it's-
see who does it. So.
Yeah, it would be us, and I'm on that building committee there, so.
Okay, great.
if we could
good,
talk
yeah,
about
so
that, yeah.
I need a project done, I'm giving you a call.
Yeah, okay.
Also, we have a situation that's aquatic in nature that would involve DES. Do you have any exposure with applying for environmental?
I've never done that before, actually. Yeah.
This has to do, most people have heard of, what the heck is that weed? Milfoil. And,
Yep.
but in this particular.
Bladderwort.
What's that?
Bladderwort?
Yeah, in this particular situation, it's bladderwort, which is rapidly overtaking the open water and creating significant challenges, so
And that's on the Wilson Pond?
that's in Wilson Pond, yeah.
I can look into that. I live on Granite Lake, and I know that the association has done a lot of work around different grants and other things, so I could check and see what works.
Do you have a problem with that at Granite Lake?
What's that?
Do you have a problem with that?
We do not. We have a pretty robust lake
unbelievable.
host program.
Granite Lake is beautiful.
That is something we don't have. We don't have a lake host program there, so a lot of things may have been introduced by other, just suddenly came to me.
Oh, yes,
Thank
we
you
get the
about that.
statistics, we get like the near misses and the saves, and there's always, either it's a volunteer, usually for high school kids, we pay high school kids, so there's a little bit of stipend for them, so, yeah, and I think they're the friendliest lake hosts around. They're the only ones I know, but they're also the most friendly, so, but that program does actually help to keep the lake very clean.
Yeah.
And they get to do a lot of their summer reading on job.
Oh, yeah, they do, yes. Probably go through many, many volumes of books. But that is something I can at least research and look into. And if I find a better solution, if, I come across someone who actually has a lot of experience with DES, I'm happy to connect you there too.
So what are our next steps with you? You're gonna provide us with a contract?
Yes, I think at least for an initial contract to do probably some prospect research and also to help set up some kind of introductory or informational meeting with Northern Borders. If they think that they want us to, if they really recommend that we do some type of pre-application, I can always come back with another contract for that pre-application phase. If we're invited to the final application, that contract will also include that as well, built in there. So I'm not just, here you go, I gave you the pre-application, good luck with the final. So, and then we can get that going.
Wonderful. I think we're going to be seeing a lot of Saturn.
Memorize the trip down Route 9.
Oh yeah, I used to play like field hockey at the field house, and I played softball for a number of years over
That's
at
so
the
cool.
field. So
Good, Brownsville?
I was like, I know where I'm going. So we're good.
Good.
We're good to go.
That's great.
Thank you for your
Very
help.
nice.
Yeah, absolutely. And feel free to reach out if you have any questions
Yeah.
as well.
Well, right now you'll have Bill as a contact and then go from there.
Yep. Okay. Sounds good.
This is wonderful.
Do you have any questions for us?
I think most of my questions will probably be for Scott.
Yeah.
In terms of the project, because if we do find that Northern Border says, yes, go ahead and do a pre-application, the next 3 weeks will be very busy. So I'll mostly be your new best friend, helping you with your large baby.
Okay.
Will you have need for any of our staff time?
What kind of staff time in terms of, usually it really is just information gathering for me in terms of trying to develop different narratives and making sure that there's a project budget for whatever phase we're in and kind of going and then doing supporting materials, which a lot of that I either research or the research might already be done. So I think it will depend on what phase we're in and what that might look like. I will want you to review the application, obviously, like whoever is that designated person to really look through the final, give feedback. It could be this entire group. It could be others outside of this group. Really up to you in terms of making sure that the right eyes are on it and giving the right kind of feedback.
Well, given the fact that the time is short, what I really meant by the question was staff support. Just feel free to let Jim know or I will, if you need some support. 'Cause
I like that you voluntold Bill. I mean, excuse me, Jim.
Do you like that he volunteered me,
You both
and
volunteered
he's kind of
together.
passing the card.
Yeah, he was like, yeah, feel free to
Yeah.
contact this guy whenever you want.
I'm glad you caught that, Sarah. I think we're gonna get along great. I was locked in that he's the contact guy, and he kind of,
I know, you're like.
tried to open the
"Hey, let's
door.
make Contact, and he's like, oh yeah, contact.
Yeah, we do
me,
that a
something
lot,
get
so.
done."
It'll get done.
it'll get done, whatever it is, one way or another.
I feel pretty comfortable if there's something that I need, like I'll reach out
Yeah.
and try to figure out who's the best person to find it from and go from there. But really to start, I just go through the program manual for the grant program, just kind of get a sense of what information we need, start gathering it all together, and then drafting narratives for each section, making sure that all the budgets align. And I think that's probably the bulk. Yeah, I think that's it, that's all.
Yeah,
Can
that's enough.
can a community apply for and receive multiple grants from Northern Borders if they're for different types of
I
projects?
think it's possible. Typically, if you have a past grant with Northern Borders, they want to see that you have it 75% expend rate. So essentially that all right, the project is like very much near completion. So it's like okay to award you new monies. What they don't want to see is that you might have one or two projects open and it might not be progressing. They're much less likely to award you a new one if that's the case. You can submit a waiver to say, hey, here's where we are in our project. We're still on schedule and we think that we'll be on target to meet our completion date. Would it be okay to apply for this new project? And they'll review that, I think, at the same time as the pre-application. But I'd have to double check.
Okay. But in terms of applying, would we be able to apply 2 separate projects, 2 applications at the same time?
I will have to look at the program manual to see if you can do 2 applications for different projects.
So if we were awarded the $3 million grant, it seems like from what you're saying that we would be best to expend those funds and account for those funds as early as possible and close that out in order to be able to apply for another Northern
Typically,
Borders.
yes, typically, there is a 3-year expenditure deadline for, I should say, project period for Northern Borders. So once you sign off on that grant application with them, essentially it's, hey, here's your notification, you got the award. They might need some additional information, but for the most part, they're taking your final award, converting it into language for a grant agreement between the town and Northern Borders. So once that is signed and executed by everyone, that's kind of when the 3-year project period, that clock starts. You can ask for an extension if needed, but essentially, if you have a project if you have $3 million and you keep pushing, if you have a timetable that's farther off, I don't know if they might hesitate to consider another Northern Borders project. But again, I think it might be worth talking with them to just double check on that because they have had some turnover and it's worth just seeing what they would think about that, depending on what the projects were.
Well, we've had two. We've connected Route 10 to Route 10 with those two northern border grants.
And they do a lot of basic public infrastructure, and this is really what the purpose is, to be able to build that infrastructure so that you can essentially bring that economic development to some of these smaller areas. So, you know, I think they'll be interested in this. It's just going to be how competitive compared to some of the other projects during whatever period we're going to be applying in.
Well, we have a compelling need because we're gradually being shut down. So we're up against it here in a relatively short period of time between the feds and the state. So it's a compelling interest, and it will certainly drive development, especially along Route 10 and potentially other housing that would be.
And I think the fact too that you can demonstrate impact from those other two northern border grants as well, and that goes a long way.
Yeah.
To say, hey, because we were able to put this in, you know, we were able to have more single-family housing or multifamily housing, or we're able to bring in X number of new businesses, or these businesses could expand. So there's a number of different metrics that you could point to and say, this is what we're looking to do here, but on a much bigger scale.
Well, we got 90 housing units just waiting because we can't connect them.
Any other questions? Are we good? I guess we're good. All right.
Thank you very much.
We're an easy group, Sarah. Thank you very much.
Sarah, thank you.
Well,
Welcome to the Swanzey team. We're thrilled to have you.
very much group.
Thank you for coming in to talk to us.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
absolutely.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet
Thank you.
you. Yeah, nice to meet you. Oh, thank you. Oh, I like your
Sarah.
picture.
Contact her.
Yeah, no, you gave me the, oh, you gave me yours.
Yeah, oh, that's funny.
That's your phone.
Stop. Very good. Can I, Mark, you can,
What do you need?
oh, what? I wanted the brown. Yeah. Where are we at here? Well, let's just stay on this for a second, because I want to just add to this. I was just letting her leave. Would you leave?
You're
Yeah, that's okay. She's very well-rounded, and I think she's going to be a lot of help. What you think, Scott, huh? I think we need to have her more. We better get in contact, because she's going to be a lot of help to our projects. She could be a lot of help to us in the future, too. So she was direct. I was impressed.
Yeah.
I think this is, how did this all happen? How did you, this was from the guy,
From Steve Fortier.
Steve recommend, did you ever meet her before? Wow, is this, so this is the first time you met her too? Wow, very interesting, and I think she's gonna be a lot of help to us.
Tremendous amount.
Yeah, I just wanted, and you agree, huh, Scott? Yeah. Yeah, right? Exactly. We need that. That's an important piece of our puzzle that we're working on, right? That's like the corner piece to our puzzle. The one you never can find. All right, great. So Marcus, where are we?
Let Scott go and then.
Yeah, Scott, you want to talk for a few minutes on what you wanted to talk about, and then I can let you go?
I have a few things to do here, but, you know, one of them is just the public part there about the Grange Hall. And it is
I guess that's on there, I'll talk to it anyway.
It's all right.
Yeah, it sounds on. But on October 8th, the Preservation Society has one of their motorcycle events at the Grange Hall. It's a moneymaker for them, a money raiser for them. But they would like to be able to allow up to the 50 people that used to be allowed into Grange Hall during that day. Still with the kitchen off limits and the upstairs stage off limits, but just more people in that building there. And I know it was 50 people before that, and Eric agreed to the 25 when we changed that last time. But I want to know if it's okay with the selectmen, and I can talk to Eric about it and see if he's in agreement with it for the 8th of October.
That's the meeting place for the run, right? That's where they leave from?
I believe so, yeah, they leave from
And then
there,
they end up for lunch somewhere?
somewhere else, I think, right? I don't know about there.
Because it's at, who's running it?
I guess the president, no, it would be Eileen running it, I think, right?
Not Jane Johnson this
Jane
time?
Johnson.
Oh, maybe, is it Jane still running it?
She
Okay.
did last year.
Okay.
So I
maybe
did
she
the
still
lunch,
will.
I did the lunch first, and I suggested that she goes over here to Swanzey, to Jimmy's for
Perfect,
lunch.
yeah.
So what would they do when they show up? Why do you need, could they pull up with their motorcycles? And I thought that was a Saturday, everybody will be outside. So they all want to come in, they're gonna have a meeting in there, what's gonna happen?
I don't know, maybe they will, I do not know that. She just emailed me and asked me if I would ask you if they could have more than 25 people in there that day.
Yeah.
I can get further information as to why.
Well, I just didn't see them all going into that building anyways, because
Yeah.
they're all pulling up with their bikes, and my understanding was they're leaving from there.
Yeah.
Going on their run and going there, and I'm thinking, you know, of course they can go in and set up coffee, but are they gonna like talk to all 50 of them in that room? Like, or are they gonna just be in and out? Because that makes a difference, that we're, you know, that they're gonna be in and out, there won't probably ever be 50 in there at one point.
Probably not, yeah, I don't know,
Right.
but I don't
So
think
that
she
would be
will.
something we wouldn't have to be so concerned with.
But she would make sure that if there were 50 in there, that you knew about there were gonna be 50 in there. Say if it rains or something like that, I don't know. But I can get more information.
Well, wait a minute, but Projects came back with, Cordell came back with.
They were both ambivalent.
Right, right,
So we took the step of reducing it to
Right.
show good faith.
right.
And structural never was the issue, it was the chimney possibly that Joe was worried about falling down there.
Yeah.
But as far as either the engineer's report, it wasn't structural with it. The loading was fine as far as that goes.
I think it would be perfectly fine if you guys.
It'd just
I
be
don't
for that
have a
one day.
problem- I don't have a problem with it, because I don't see, you know, them all going in anyways, and if they do, I'm fine with the person, I don't know if you guys
I'm
are.
fine, as long as
I'll talk to Eric then.
gives the okay.
I'll ask Eric about it.
What?
Eric. fire
Eric,
chief.
yeah, so you talked to the fire chief.
I'll talk to him, yeah, as
and
long
then-
as it's okay with you.
And then you notified the select board that you're gonna notify the fire chief, and if he's okay with it, we'll move on.
Yeah, okay.
Is that okay?
I want to talk to Jane Johnson about the details of how they did it last year, because I don't honestly know how it worked.
Well, I think Scott's gonna ask her some more details, so
Yeah.
when he talks to her.
I will, I'll find out,
All right.
yeah, because it won't be until October.
Okay.
The next segment is about our Water Sewer Committee and about the sewer rates. And we'd like to know if you would nail it down, you know, have a vote to vote in what the rate is going to be, and also if we're going to allow some of the metered users, we talked about this last time, metered users to have the standard user fee or just strictly a per gallon fee. Because Steve's, he did a upgraded spreadsheet, which I don't have it with me, but upgraded spreadsheet, but he's still using the majority of the metered users going over to a single fee user, because he figures they will, because it would be cheaper for them to do that. And we also had more information about a certain campground area in this area, you know, won't be specific about it, but those, I looked over the information on that, and that came in as far as gallons usage there, and it makes more sense from what I found from the records, as opposed to what was actually.
To go by gallons.
No, that, we were talking about, well, maybe their hour meters are off, or maybe they need a flow meter there, we were talking about, remember?
Yes.
Well, it turns out that I think their gallons to hours ratio is pretty darn close to what it should be. Because I got from Michelle the whole year of 2025 and looked to see what it was like, and it was 211,000 some odd gallons they used for the year there. And the bill for 2005 was like $265 for the whole year, for that amount of water going through that place.
So you multiplied it by 2 cents a gallon?
Well, I did that, and it should have been like 2,000 some odd dollars, instead of 260 some odd dollars. It should have been. In our current rate, if we put it to this, say, 2 cents a gallon, it'll be around 2,000 some odd dollars, and I do have it written down here someplace, but around in that area. But it's, I lost my track of thought there for a minute there, but I'll come back to it. They weren't using, from what I could find out, they have 2 meters there, because they have 2 pumps, upper meter and lower meter there. And in the billing, I couldn't find that they were using both meters. It looks like they're using the readings for just the top meter and not the bottom meter. So that was lost. as far as revenue. It would only been like $100 and some odd more. And for their top meter, I do have this written down, I just want to clarify what this was. These are Michelle's reports from the year 2025. So, total for their top meter, they paid $258.40 for the year, entire year. If they had been using the bottom meter as well, it would have been $397.80 per year.
Plus the 200 and something.
No, total. The bottom
Oh,
meter.
so if you added in the bottom meeting, it would have came to 300 and something.
So an extra 100 or some odd dollars there, because the other pump isn't running as much by the looks of it. It's probably the float setting. It really doesn't matter because they're both in hours. So, in total for that year, if we use the 0.0195 cents per gallon, their bill would have been $2,164.65, which is, and it would have been 111,000.
How many gallons did they use?
111,009 gallons they put into our system. But we only, due to that billing error, the conversion factor, which is 23,000 gallons per quarter per user, the bill only came to that much because of that inflated conversion.
So how did you say earlier that it's close to?
Oh, I'm saying it's close because the 111,009 gallons is more like it that they put through there, that they did put through there. We know they put that through there. But we never knew, we never really looked at the gallons because we didn't have that figure there. Let me put it a different way. We were going by what we charged for the entire year, which was $265. Yeah, 200 and, nope, one more time.
So we were charging them for like 10,000 gallons.
We were charging them for what we were supposed to be. It was $258.40 for the entire year. We should have charged them $2,164 if we were going by what current flow actually is. I mean, what a standard user rate actually is. It is not 260 gallons per person per day, which comes out to 23,400 gallons a quarter. It's just is not that. So if you divide that inflated number into what they use, of course it's going to be like 2 or 3 users, and that's it. That's what we billed for. That was a user. And we aren't going to do that anymore because we've thrown that out the window. We're going to go probably to a per gallon fee of either 1.95 or 0.0195 or just 2 cents a gallon.
So going back to your original question, you would like to see the select board come up with that price, which is, I suggest 2 cents a gallon, right?
That would be fine.
And then the second half of that would be the meters versus per gallon, right?
Yeah, and we need to proceed with that.
But
We need to
Bill
know.
brought up about right across the board going by the gallons, right?
Well,
Well,
go
how
by the
did-
meters.
Huh?
Yeah, the meters.
Yeah.
If they have a meter, go by the
Yeah,
meter.
yeah, by the meters, the current metered users, which, it works out to we'll say 2 cents a gallon. And it also, and I can just give you, so, if we use the metered users, billed at the price per gallon, the metered users, that's 0.0195. The standard user fee would be $107.41. That's at the 2. And there's 2 cents a gallon, it's $110. There's nothing, no difference there. So we can round it up to the 2 cents per gallon. If we use the metered users billed at the standard user fee, which is not the per gallon, it's a standard user fee, then the cost per quarter for a standard user jumps up to $119.24 to make up the difference, because they wouldn't be paying exactly what it's
We're
cost.
still using the standard, we're still making the standard user subsidize the meter.
That's right, that's what I'm trying to say, exactly. They would subsidize it at $119, which we're talking about $10 more, but still, $10.
But
So,
it's $10 a quarter, so it's,
a quarter, yeah,
so
$40.
it's almost $50.
Yeah, yep, so,
It's lunch at Jimmy's, dinner
so,
at the
yeah,
pizzeria.
so we're looking for a decision from the board so we can proceed with this, so we can get the spreadsheet proper and get a meeting with Michelle over there and to see just how it's going to integrate into the current system. So we know which way to go, because like I say, Steve is still using the other way that we had figured, until we get a decision. And then he can just tweak the numbers just a little tiny bit. Let's see, what else do I have here?
What is your suggestion to the board? Where would you like to see it go?
I think my
Besides the
suggestion would
meters.
be to keep it simple, to go to the 2 cents per gallon for all metered users and the standard user fee for unmetered users. Yeah, I think that would be the way to go there. And also, we've been using, in the computations, we've been using actual billed gallons, gallons billed for last year, which is like 18 million some odd thousand gallons. But I think we probably should use the 20 million gallons. That's about 55,000 gallons a day, which is, I think, more like it. If we use the lower number and we put more through the system, we'll get more money. But our goal is the $391,000 a year. That's with the $150,000 for a CR on there. So, you know, we're going up enough. I think we're safe enough to go with the 20 million gallons, if I made sense out of that or not.
I get it.
Okay.
You said 2 cents a gallon for metered users. What did you say about the unmetered users?
The unmetered users will be a flat fee, and it'll be around $107, or depending on how the numbers actually come out, it'll be between $107.44 a quarter to $119.24 a quarter, in that range. Whatever it comes out to be once we get the...
Are you looking for a motion? Okay.
Yeah, we can do that tonight. I'd rather, so they can move ahead.
Yeah, so
Let's
if
get
you
it
do,
over
yeah.
with. So we're gonna go, well, I shouldn't say that. Are you guys all agreeable to go with the suggestion from?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Mark? Okay, so what would the motion say? What would you,
I'd like it to say that you're going to set the new rate at 2 cents per gallon,
correct?
and you don't even have to say what the user's fee is, I mean, the single user fee unmetered, because that'll be calculated out of the 2 cents per
Right.
gallon. So we need to know that it's 2 cents a gallon for treatment of the sewage, and also that all the metered units are going to go by gallons and not have the option of going to a standard. So,
Strictly by the gallons?
yes, so you can just say strictly by the gallon, you have to add that in there, I was just explaining that stuff.
So I have a motion, you might want to add to it, but that we charge 2 cents a gallon for metered users and a flat fee of $107 to $119 for non-metered users.
No.
No, that's not correct.
Sorry, but I know you're in the middle of a motion there, but just 2 cents per gallon, and the rest will be covered by the math.
That's right. So all we have to do is make a motion tonight of 2 cents a gallon. And then we'll go
And the metered be
by gallons,
just by gallons
by gallons.
across the board, that's it,
And
price
the-
per gallon.
And the meters being read by gallons, how's that?
Meters be charged price per
Right.
gallon, 2 cents a gallon.
All right, let me try
Do we
again.
even need to do that, Scott?
Pardon me?
Do we even need to do that?
I think you do, because there's a distinction of whether we're going to allow them to opt into the single user's fee and do away with their metered gallons, or be charged by what their meters read. There's a discrepancy there of about $12,000. They would be paying about $12,000 less. So, and we talked about it at the committee, and I think the committee recommended that we allow that option. But talking about it more with you and all, it makes sense probably just to keep a metered gallon,
Yep.
and not give the option.
So my motion is to charge 2 cents a gallon for metered users and to pay by gallon for other use?
Let's see, and all the, let's see, it would be the set price for treating a gallon of wastewater will be 2 cents a gallon, and all the metered users will be charged that 2 cents a gallon, and all other users unmetered will be charged a flat user's fee. And again, that'll work out with the math afterwards. And
Yeah,
it'll
that's
probably
it.
change from year to year.
No?
No.
Go ahead, redo it, so.
Okay,
What I have is Alan Gross made a motion to set the new rate at 2 cents per gallon for treatment of wastewater. And all metered users will be charged that rate.
will be charged, yeah, the 2 cents per gallon. And all unmetered users will be charged a flat user's fee. Yeah, it'll change every year, because the cost per gallon is probably going to change every year, because this time it's going to be done currently.
So all unmetered users will be charged a flat rate.
Flat rate, and yeah, that's all that needs to be in the motion, because the flat rate, again, is going to be determined by the math after the metered users are added back into where we took them out of the spreadsheet.
Do we want Alan to read that motion? And Alan, do you want to, you can go right over there and read that motion, so it comes
That
out.
she is written down good because I've got,
So she's got it written down, you got a lot of scratch there. I just want to make this correct.
yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you. Motion is to set the new rate at 2 cents per gallon for the treatment of wastewater, and all meter users will be charged that rate, and all unmetered users will be charged a flat rate.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, now you can move ahead, that's great, right?
Great, thank you, yeah.
Yeah,
And
that's gonna help you guys, so now you can start
It will,
making
we'll
them.
continue, yeah, we're gonna be meeting tomorrow anyways, but yeah, we're gonna continue with that, and get that going. Just one other thing you need to think about is we need to adopt a procedure statement for calculating the price per gallon each year. And it'll just have to be a standard procedure that you will adopt that says, this is what we're gonna do every year, we're gonna take the cost of last year, and we're gonna divide the gallons we produced last year into that cost and get the cost for the new year. That's all it's gonna be.
And you don't have that yet?
No, I don't have it right, but we don't need it right now. You know,
Okay.
We just needed this, but we
Okay.
need to adopt something like that just to go into.
Okay, we can do that later then. Okay, that's great. Tomorrow is your meeting, and unfortunately, is there any, what is, if I don't mind me asking, because I don't think I can make that. First one I have,
Okay, it's probably, I might recap what we talked about tonight, get that done.
okay.
But I think we're just gonna talk generally about the water company.
Oh, good.
Because the engineering is engineering, it's ongoing, there's nothing new to that, unless Joe has something new, I don't think so. But we're gonna be just familiarize everyone with the water company, where it stands, what it's like, what's in there, what isn't in there, and just have a general discussion.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'll be standing in the rain at Fair Grounds flipping a burger, so I just couldn't leave Tracy there by herself, so you guys will fill me in on that,
Yep.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
All right, that's great. All right, so we got a lot accomplished.
Yeah, oh yeah, we did, great, that's what we
did.
need.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Thank
We
you,
got
Scott.
movement,
Appreciate
the
it.
wheel's still turning in the right
Oh,
direction.
they're turning, yep.
I love
They
it.
are.
Scott, for the sewer, could you start to transition the team into looking at
Yeah, I
hookup?
need to mention that, yeah, and what we do need to do, really, I think, is, as soon as we can, now that we have this decided what it's gonna be, we'll know what the rates are gonna be for all the metered users, which is gonna jump up considerably, up to 400%, some of them. So we had, talked about calling them in one by one, and if we can just come up with a letter that will tell them, we'll say something like, based on your last quarter's usage, your new bill will be such and such, and we know that it's, a lot, or it's quite a jump there, and we can also, got a couple of things written down here, we can also tell them that, let's see, the reasons, in that letter, we can do the reasons for the increase, or like a major increase in capital reserve caused by the new EPA permit limits. That's one of the major reasons right there, and correction of a billing calculation based on inflated usage estimates.
All right, so this is the follow-up letter, the first one we sent out, because we left off with more information will be followed, so we
Yeah.
didn't get all these calls. And if I'm not mistaken, Joe DeRusso helped us with that letter. Is that something?
He wrote the whole thing, I think.
Huh?
You wrote the whole thing, but that letter is probably gonna be separate from this letter, because this letter is just gonna be geared to, or should just be geared
The
to
five-
metered users.
Oh.
Not the standard, everyone uses fee, we'll have another meeting for those
So
guys
these are
there.
the 5 big ones that we're gonna bring in, we're talking about, right?
Yeah, there was a list on the back of that thing,
All right, so
last thing I
who
wrote.
could do that letter? Could you do that, Bill?
Yeah, we can,
Does that-
We can
yeah.
collaborate between the two, but just,
Wait
and in
till the
that,
fair's over.
Yeah.
Payback.
All right,
so when they receive their bill in September,
Thank
they
you.
won't be getting it for the first time. They'll have received that letter prior to, seeing what it's probably going to be in September, and give them a chance just to talk about it with everyone, and then in September, they'll get that bill.
Yeah, but we're gonna invite them here, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll have Steve and Scott and anybody else from the committee you think should participate.
Yeah,
I don't-
anybody, I don't know
keep it
if we need
small.
that many from the committee,
I
Steve
think we
definitely.
should, the select board, you and Steve, really.
Yeah, that'd be fine. And just one by one, just to, it's a courtesy call, just to give them a heads up and cushion it for them, reasons why, ask their questions if they want. But just so the sticker shock will be a little bit less in September. They'll know a little bit what to
It'll be known.
It'll be on, and we'll be able to tell them from calculations from any of their past quarters about what it's going to be if they have questions about it. With the new rate, we'll have the new rate, so we'll know exactly what it'll be. And for whatever year it was, say 2025, we have all the information from that, we can tell them what it would have been. And, a good deal they got for 2025.
And previously.
And previously, yeah.
Could the committee expand and look into hookup fees and one of the thoughts, I'd be interested in knowing what they think is whether we should be making a concerted effort to transition everyone over to meters. I know a lot of that depends upon the water company, because obviously then it changes it, but.
It does, it'll change it somewhat, but again, probably the majority of the users on our system will not be on the water company either. All this side of town, none of it's on the water company. That, everyone would have to, I don't know about doing that in every house. A standard fee, I think, is the way to go there. It's fair, yes, some will use a little bit less, some will use a little bit more, but I think it's pretty fair, that standard usage fee. It'd be a toughie with all those meters, and then somebody's got to read them all too. And you got to calibrate them all if you need to. And I don't know.
Well, hookup fees anyway.
Hookup fee, and that meaning a hookup fee, you don't mean a fee that is a minimal fee whether you use any water or not. You mean a hookup fee if a new place is going to hook onto our system. Yeah, I know. Yeah, they have them. I read them recently too for North Swanzey. We could adopt those. Whatever to keep it the same, should be the same anyway.
Well, just to give you an example, the hookup fee for sewer was $850. The hookup fee for water was $17,000.
Oh, for the city of Keene.
No, I'm talking about in North Swansea.
Yeah, North Swanzey.
But it's
City of
still-
Keene water, but
it's
for
the
their
precinct.
department, 17,000. Wow.
Yeah, and with some of the other projects we did, they were always equivalent, 7,500, 7,500, but
That's a big.
the horse left the barn with that 850,
Yeah.
because those developments all benefited significantly from that.
Yeah, we can look into that. I'll ask Steve what his thoughts are on his spreadsheet magic.
Helps a lot with capital reserve, because that's really what that money is doing, is it's helping to build the reserve.
Yeah, that too, that's right, yeah. And again, we'll be going for the 150 on capital reserve, the maximum one there. And that's what this whole 2 cents and all this stuff is all about.
Great.
I think that covers it.
Yeah.
Unless I forgot something else, did I? No? Okay.
I don't think so.
But Scott, I only got like few things just to clear up, take me 5 minutes. And there's an issue that came up that I think I need your help with.
I'll
Could
stay.
you hang
Yeah.
for a little bit?
Yeah.
Okay. So Mark, where are we?
So the next item is
Honeybee?
the proposed lease for Honeybee.
Yeah, and we all are agreeable with that, we can just make a motion, right?
Yep.
Mark, it's a
The
motion.
only changes that were made were the ones that we discussed.
Yeah.
And so this would go to them and they could push back or whatever, but it's the things that we agreed to. And the items that they had for work order, they already acknowledged that those are being done, either being done or have been done or being done. So they're not included.
Okay. I move to accept the proposed 2627 Honeybee Hollow lease as presented and authorize the select board chair to sign the lease on behalf of the board.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. That was easy.
Whitcomb Hall rental option, what's that?
This is, we asked Katie to put together a proposal. And if you didn't have an opportunity to review it, we can certainly do it next week.
Okay, I'd be more comfortable with that.
Yep.
Okay.
She did a nice job on this.
She did?
Yep. Put a lot of time into it.
Old business?
So we made a decision with regard to the phone system, but as I mentioned, there's some question with regard to the existing phone system. I did leave a message with our contact and hopefully get a call back tomorrow.
We don't have an administrative update.
That's
Well, you are.
pretty much it, so.
Okay. Any other business?
Get like, full with the scrap metals request to switch the capital funds. Something we can discuss now or another meeting.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to get that into the packet, so we could do it next week. Yeah.
So you move the Whitcomb Hall to a future meeting?
Yes.
We should be able to do that next week for Whitcomb Hall, because everyone will have had a chance to review it.
Correspondence, we don't have nothing, just what we're going to discuss. Public input, we don't have anybody. Okay. Now. Okay.
I have a
Yeah.
non-public, you have a non-public. So,
Non-public is always covered.
Make a motion to go into non-public.
under,
Reputation.
Reputation.
Second, sorry.
All in favor?
can you call the roll?